So that's what I feel like is happening right now in Moldova, because of those people that are getting pieces from here and there and everywhere, they're implementing kind of their own strategies and their own ABA and call it ABA. So the name of ABA is eventually it's gonna start being associated with something negative due to the fact that it's not an authentic ABA. It's a made up ABA. So that was something that I noticed and that kind of scares me. And as a person that comes from this field, I don't want, to go into my country and say that I'm practicing ABA and to be getting those judgments and hearing the bad things about it. So as I said, this is something that I'm working on and educating parents, educating specialists, educating educators on ABA, how to ABA, and how to implement those strategies.
In this conversation, I'm joined by Olga Serbo, a board-certified behavior analyst from Moldova, about her journey into the field of behavior analysis and her experiences working with children on the autism spectrum. Olga shares her insights on the cultural differences in perceptions of autism between Moldova and the US, the challenges faced by families in seeking support, and her efforts to improve ABA services in Moldova through education and community building. This discussion highlights the importance of acceptance, understanding, and advocacy for individuals with autism and their families. Welcome to Behavior Speak, Olga. I'm excited to have you here today.
It's been a pleasure.
Before we get started, I want to acknowledge I produce this podcast on the territories of the Klam, Klehus, Komoko, Comox, and Sechelt First Nations. And I'm grateful to be here. So, Olga, tell me a bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Olga Serbo. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst, licensed behavior analyst, and international behavior analyst. I am living in United States, specifically Texas. I came to US in 2010. And it's been 15 years that I am here, and I am activating as a board-certified behavior analyst, working mainly with kids on the spectrum.
And so tell me a little bit about how you found behavior analysis, how you got into the field.
It's been quite a journey. In 2010, when I came to US, at that time, I had already graduated and had master's degree in psychology. And I start the school in America in 2010. I applied for psychology and for early childhood education. And at Salem State University, Massachusetts, I did double major. In that period of time, in 2017, I got a job as a therapist for kids on the spectrum and was an in-home ABA. So soon after, within a month after I got the job, I got the credentials and I became an RBT. And I activated as an RBT for quite some time. I provided initially services of ABA in home with ages 2 to 11. After a couple of years, I already got a job also as a therapist, but was center-based with kids older, 10 to 22, and they were severe. They were totally different from the kids that I had worked in home. So it was a great experience and I learned a lot. And that's what actually dragged me into this field. And as soon as I got the RBT job, I remember that at first my goal and my career direction was to be a special ed teacher. Let's say from beginning, my focus was kids. So it doesn't matter what, psychology, early childhood, or children. And I was planning actually on doing special ed. But then working as an RBT, I got to learn so much about autism. And my view about autism changed totally. And I feel like people from third world countries probably would understand what I'm talking about, because especially from Europe, usually when we talk about kids on the spectrum or kids with any kind of disability, we are always looking for those physical changes or physical aspect. So in my mind, when I got the job as an RBT, I also was expecting that I will meet some kids that they will have some physical deficiencies. But it turned out that they are normal kids. They look normal. They don't have any physical differences from any typical child. And I was very surprised. And in the first 6 months of working with kids on the spectrum, after passing already the stage of understanding that they look exactly the same as a typical child, I got to discover another thing. I understood that at some point I was thinking that I can heal them, I can fix them. And I was thinking like, oh, they look exactly the same like any typical child. So they gonna get there. Like they are able to be as a typical kids. They can be cured, something like that. Which sounds very funny now after so many years of practice and learning so much about autism. I'm looking back and I'm thinking, oh my God, what I was thinking. But yeah. And that's how I got into the world of ABA.
So what sort of helped you kind of realize that maybe making these kids normal and curing them was maybe not the way to go?
I feel like when I was thinking that way, that I can cure something that is kind of, it has a cure, it's because I had limited information and knowledge about autism. And once I got into ABA, into school, and I start going to webinars, conferences, and reading, learning more about autism, even working with not just the kids that are mild and in home and they don't have aggressions and as I said in my mind, they were like, oh, it's nothing different from any typical child. And my views start changing the more I was learning about it. And also the work experience, because once I step into the center-based, was totally a different environment, totally a different behavior. And that made me understand that sometimes doesn't matter what you do, doesn't help. Like pills and medication will not fix, but even interventions, it may help in certain aspects and improve certain things, but it's still a lot of work, and some things can still require that continuous intervention and continuous work. So it doesn't have a limit, and it doesn't give you, let's say, time frame that the kid comes into therapy, let's say at 2 years old. By 5 years old, he's not going to need an ABA therapy, because every child is different. They respond different. They have different abilities. And that's what I came to learn.
Do you have a certification with the International Behavior Analysis Organization, the Qualified Applied Behavior Analysis Credentialing Board, the Behavior Analyst Certification Board, or are certified through your region's Behavior Analyst Credentialing Board? You can earn continuing education units for this episode by going to www.behaviorspeak.com and clicking on CEUs. The first secret word is advocacy.
And then to understand that even kids on the spectrum, they respond different to ABA therapy. They develop different. They have different results. Yeah, what made me change my mind is actually working more with the kids, seeing different cases, and learning more about autism.
Right on. And I suppose just being in America, you can't help but be to a lot of the conversation around the neurodiversity movement and the voices of autistic folks who are like, we don't want to be fixed. We don't want to be cured. It's not about sort of removing the diagnosis and sort of those sorts of things. That must have had some influence too, eh?
Yes, that's definitely something that changed my mind, because I did, as I said, I worked with different type of kids on the spectrum, and some were verbal, could express themselves, they would still have behaviors, and they could even describe some of feelings and how they felt, how they translate the word and all that. So that did help. The work and the interaction with a lot of different kiddos and different ages also. It did help learn more and kind of change that view. And I understood that there's nothing to heal and there's nothing to
Mm-hmm.
treat. It's about actually accepting what the
Mm.
child has,
Yes.
meeting them at their level,
Mm.
and trying to help them just regulate themselves, understand the world, and integrate in this world
Mm.
better. But yeah, and I even today I can say that yeah, it's not a cure for autism, and autism can be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what I'm doing. I love this job because I get to see how the science, ABA, can change lives, can even help families, parents
Mm.
understand better their kids, meet the kids' needs at a better level, and also they are able to respond more efficient to the kids' needs. And also,
Mm-hmm.
it gives great tools for the child also to communicate with their parents and feel understood and feel part of a family and they integrated in the society again. So yeah, it's a work that I cannot imagine myself being somewhere else and doing something different than what I'm doing right now.
That's awesome. You referenced when we first started talking about that people from other countries might have a different perspective on autism until they kind of got over here and started learning some more things and developing and getting more education and so on, like you did. You came from Moldova. That's where you're from.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what shaped maybe those early perceptions of autism when you lived there, and sort of what the perception of autism is like over there. Are they at acceptance? Is it more about awareness?
Yes. And I think that's the sad part. Because, as I said, I come from a country where we are used that people with disability, they have a physical aspect to it. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that people can look totally normal and they
Mm-hmm.
can still have something else. So be with for example, with autism.
Mm-hmm.
So in my country, I would say that culture has an impact on the way the autism is perceived and the way the autism is looked at. And as a country that they always look, how they appear, how they're
Mm-hmm.
perceived by other people, it's hard, I feel like, for someone to have the autism spectrum. And it's a country that doesn't have much information about autism. I was shocked and surprised when I graduated and I became a BCBA. Of course, in my mind, all the time and all the years as I was progressing and learning and finding out about this, in my mind was like, my country probably has those people as well. So once
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling in that level that I have the tools, I have the knowledge, I will reach out to them. I will try to
Mm-hmm.
help. I will try to see what is there and what's going on. So when I reached out, I came across the reality that not even, let's say, the parents, of course, they know something is wrong with their child and they try to figure out what is wrong with their child. And first thing they do, they're going to the doctors, they're going to
Mm-hmm.
pediatricians, so they are trying to understand what's happening with their kid. And it's sad that after speaking with them with parents, I learned that many pediatricians wouldn't be able to give them the answer. They wouldn't be able
Mm-hmm.
to give them any directions, like what's the
Wow.
next step, what is going on. They would not know. They were maybe saying that some of the parents were telling me that the pediatrician was saying, "Oh, you're reading too much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should not consult so much of the social media." I spoke with a parent that went to a neurologist, and that's the main person that actually gives the diagnosis of
Mm-hmm.
autism.
Okay.
And I was surprised when mom went to the specialist and she expressed her feelings, her thoughts that probably her child is on the spectrum. And the neurologist asked, what's that? What's
Wow.
autism? Where are you coming with that information?
Mm.
And she started explaining, and that's when actually this specialist told her, like, oh, you should read less. You should inform yourself
Wow.
less. So that tells you a lot about what's going on in a country and where is the country when it comes to autism. If the educated people are not able to help and they do not have the knowledge about autism, how can they help like parents and kids? So that was a little bit of surprise to me and was shocking. And nowadays to have neurologists, pediatricians that are not able to get that information to parents. Then another thing is also the fact that, of course, when a parent realizes that their kid is different and they search for answers, some of them probably, even if they don't get it from the specialist, they get it through social media because that's when they learn about autism. And once they understand that their child has they go into isolation. So they are isolating themselves, they are isolating their child because we are talking about Moldova, a country that where if I want to buy bread, I need to put makeup, I need to fix my hair, I need to get dressed well, I need to put my heels and go buy that bread. So of course, when you get a child that looks different and mental, let's say, level from any child his age, maybe does some weird behavior, let's say that way, if I'm referring to stimming. So then getting out with a kid like that, it takes a lot of courage. And I'm sure that probably a lot of parents felt embarrassed or felt like, oh, if I get out with my kid, people will judge me. If my kid starts having tantrum in public, then I will be embarrassed. I will be judged by other people. If my kid jumps and hits another person or something like that, that person is going to tell me that I'm not doing a good job as a parent and I'm not educating my child. So that's what is Moldova. It's a country that doesn't know much about autism, and every behavior that would come from a child on the spectrum outside of their house would be translated as parents not doing a job or he's not educated, and that's where they are. So what I see that a lot of parents, when they understand something is wrong, they choose to isolate. They choose to isolate their kids. Also, it's very sad. I learned that many kids on the spectrum that are more in a severe side, they are completely lacking any services. The moment you would go and you would find some people that are trying to help those kids and they're trying to do ABA therapy with them, even those places wouldn't risk to take a child that has aggressions, that has self-injurious behaviors, those behaviors that are challenging. And you would see more therapists and places that are taking kids with mild behaviors that they don't do it because they want to discriminate, and they don't do it because, I don't know, they try to look for an easy job or something like that. They do it that way because they do not have the knowledge and the resources that would give them a proper training and teach them how to handle those more serious behaviors. And that's what is the barrier. Yeah, and overall, it seems like the world is not ready yet to accept autism in my country. And I feel like I'm saying it wrong when the world. I feel like I should say maybe that the country is not doing, I don't know, a company or something that would inform the people, give the people more information about autism. Because once they would talk more about it, they would inform the population about it, probably, and the community would start looking different. People will start looking different, and they would be more accepting towards autism. The fact is that the culture it has the mentality underneath that you don't take the trash out of the house,
Mm.
and you have a problem, you deal with it yourself
Mm.
and in quiet and peace, and you present to the world the nice picture that everybody should see. That what is a big problem, because as I said, I feel like if I go to Moldova and I see a mom with a kid on the spectrum walking on the street, I will applaud her, because she got the guts to get out with her child
Mm.
and be prepared to be judged and all that. So yeah, I feel like the country would benefit a lot from more information, for
Mm.
doing more projects maybe that would talk about autism, and to come that information not just from schools and doctors, but also from social media.
So that's sad. What do you think happens to these children, and especially when they become adults? Where do they end up?
And that's the problem, as I understood right now in Moldova, because they are able to, let's say that way, they are able to kind of meet some of the needs for the kids that are young. As I said, like they can do ABA therapy and they accept easily a younger child that can be shaped at
Mm.
a younger age. And they can put up with those behaviors at a younger age.
Mm.
With those older kids that already, let's say they're 15, 16, 17, and the only way for them to communicate is by hitting, screaming, I don't know, biting. Um, they are not having anything. They don't have any practically center. Like, let's say I have a child like that, and I want to take it somewhere to a center to
Mm.
do ABA. It's going to be impossible for me to find a center like that. And what they do, they stay home. They stay home, they're isolating them, they're keeping them in closed rooms, closed
Mm.
house, and that's
Mm.
all. And only the parents are one-on-one with those kids. And
Wow.
it's sad, because I did had a seminar once in Moldova, and the main question at the end was, where can I find resources to read and learn more about not younger kids, but about those teenagers or adults with autism? Like, where can I find those resources? How do I know how to go through puberty with a child with autism? It's because that category and that age category is not served, and they do not have any resources. And that is very sad, because practically parents have to look, search, learn, and them to do the job. Nobody else will be there to help them and guide them how to help their kids.
Hmm.
Yep. So right now, there's nothing there for young people
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
autism.
Wow. So you say some people are trying to do ABA therapy. What's sort of the story there? What's sort of the history of ABA in Moldova?
Yeah. So when I visited a year ago, I visited my country. I was expecting that things are bad, things are not good.
Hmm.
But I found something that made me happy. The fact that there are people that, even without resources, without information, they have some information, of course, but limited information, let's say that way, without proper trainings, they try to help. I would say I admire those people, because in those conditions, to help a child on a spectrum, that says a lot. You need
Hmm.
really to love kids, and you need dedication, and you need continuous education, kind of motivate yourself to find that
Hmm.
education. So I admire them, for especially those people that are trying to work with the kids on the spectrum. I admire them, and I appreciate everything that they do and their work. But the thing is that they call it ABA, and they call it
Hmm.
ABA because, as I said, there's no school, there's no university that would give you a degree. Like, I got my master in applied behavior analysis. There's no such thing as master in behavior analysis. There's no RBT trainings or IBT trainings. So all they do is practically they are attending conferences, they're attending webinars and seminars that are talking about autism, that are giving those pieces of information about how to do therapy or how to help kids on the spectrum. And they take pieces from different places and they try to use those pieces of information into doing therapy with the kids on the spectrum. It's nice of them that, as I said, and I appreciate the effort that they're trying to help. The negative part is that there's not a base. So it's just like you found something from here, I'm going to go implement, see how it works. I find something from here, I'm going to go implement and see how it works. So it's not a base. It's not something structured that will give them all the knowledge and guarantee quality of services. So yeah, there's no trainings that would give that information, and it's practically based on whatever they learn through webinars and seminars. And that's what actually I am working on changing. And I understood that I don't want people to call ABA something that is not ABA. And that leads to something that we saw, I don't know, in America and mostly in UK, I feel like years ago when ABA was in the beginning stages and they were using those punishments and people got a bad association and the AB destroyed their reputation. So that's what I feel like is happening right now in Moldova because of those people that are getting pieces from here and there and everywhere. They're implementing kind of their own strategies and their own ABA and call it ABA. So the name of ABA is eventually start being associated with something negative due to the fact that is not an authentic ABA. It's a made up ABA. So that was something that I noticed and that kind of scares me. And as a person that comes from this field, I don't want, I don't know, to go to my country and say that I'm practicing ABA and to be getting those judgments and hearing the bad things about it. So as I said, this is something that I'm working on and educating parents, educating specialists, educating educators on ABA, how to ABA and how to implement those strategies. What are those strategies? Practically what my work at the moment, besides everything else that I'm doing, my work at the moment, what focuses on is offering Moldova, Republic of Moldova, and Romania too, a base of knowledge. I would say that because in Europe, I don't know if you know about it, but the BACB was allowing them to get the credentials of BCBA and RBT. But then after January 2000, and there's no more BACB in Europe. So they still recognize all those specialists.
The second secret word is family.
Or people that knew about ABA and becoming a BCBA at that time, and they became a BCBA. Romania, I learned that they do have some BCBAs from that period. Moldova, I think there's only one person that I know about it. Maybe there are more, but I know only about one person. And they're continuing detaining those credentials, like they have their conditions as a BCBA and they continue following the rules of BACB. But that stopped after 2023. So now it's 2 years that nobody gets any credentials through BACB. And I'm happy that IBAO came into Europe, into place, and they are trying to introduce those high standards of ABA. and have some structures and to give that accurate information based on science and give legit practice. So Moldova, let's say, it doesn't have a platform. It didn't have a platform that would inform them, that would educate. Romania, when I did my research actually to see what resources they have available, all I came across was RBT, still from old times. And all the webinars, seminars is mostly created when it comes to autism are led by psychology, by psychological by
Right.
psychological department. Yeah. So now I did create a website, which is Romania.
Awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I did my work because I understood that things are so bad. And as I said, I don't want that reputation for ABA. So I create a website that it calls autismfamilia.ro. And we launched it actually this week and Wednesday.
Amazing.
Yes. And I've been working on it for more than a year because this website, what it includes that base. It includes a course of 40 hours, which is the IBT course. And
Wow.
it's also IBAO approved and gives a certification of completion, so 40-hour completion that is recognized by IBAO, International Behavior Analysis Organization, and can help educate parents, as I said, teachers, and therapists. I'm proud of it because it's the first tool that is IBAO approved in Moldova and Romania that can serve these two countries. And any person that speaks Romania can have the access to that information. And I feel like it's beneficial for everybody, for parents, teachers, and therapists. What another big plus of it is also the fact that it gives them, those therapists, those people that want to practice ABA in those countries, tool to get their credentials, to get their IBT, International Behavior Technician. In November, at the end of the November, that's probably when this podcast is going to come into place. At the end of November, we are planning our first webinars that's going to give those two CEUs on a general topic of ABA. The webinar is going to be published and open for registration on November 3rd on our website, autismfamilia.com. And I'm also, we just opened, but I already create a group of 5 people, all from Moldova, Republic of Moldova, and they are taking the course right now. And they can start their supervision observation because that's one of the requirements in order to get that IBT license. You need supervision observation by a BCBA or IBAO. IBA, sorry, International Behavior Analysis. So I am starting in November a group of 5 people for supervision that are passing the program, and they're gonna but they will go ahead for credentialing with IBAO and getting their IBT license, which is amazing because I feel like I will celebrate at the end when every single one of them is going to pass that exam, because I'll be confident that now those people going to be able to give that therapy or ABA therapy in the complete sense of that word. Just Familia is the platform that's going to be hosting after, also by the end of January, is going to be hosting webinars regarding different cultural differences and also ethics and giving those CUs necessary for the for going ahead and getting those credentials of IBT. So that's the good news.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's where I was working, and I'm working, and I still all you can see right now on that website is the course, but I'm happy that we can still put that out and people can start already working on getting that base. So let's say if until now they were just putting walls that keep collapsing, now I feel like I'm giving them a base and they can start building walls and it's not going to collapse. So it can be actually helping kids in the whole sense of the word, not just implement the strategies and not knowing exactly how they work, but having the science behind it. So yeah, that's the big news about something that I'm trying to do for my country and for Romania, for all the people that speak Romanian.
That's really fantastic. You're making a big difference and, it's influencing change. So these 5 folks, are they folks in like roles? Are they like teachers and specialists that doing sort of other things and sort of now adding this skill to their...
Yes. So there are specialists, but they are practicing in Moldova as therapists and they providing ABA services. And they were providing ABA services the same way as everybody else based on what they were hearing, seeing, and attending. And yes, now when they found out about the course, they got in touch and they select me as their mentor for the supervision. So the program is going to be 2.5 months because that's the requirement for IBAO is to have 10 hours of direct or group supervision and observation. And for getting those hours, it's going to take them 2.5 months. And then after that, they can sit for an exam. The fact that, yeah, they're learning theory, and I already spoke with some of them, and they're like, oh my God, I cannot wait for our meeting because I have so many questions. And I'm looking forward actually to see what are those questions. And I'm happy that it's not just a course. It gives them the opportunity actually to get that supervision observation because I can actually give them answer to their questions, but also I can make sure that they implement it correctly. I can directly watch them, give them feedback in a moment. They're going to have, of course, to do those projects that are required by IBAO, but also that feedback in the moment, I feel like that's the learning. That's when learning happens. And that's going to help a lot because it's different when you think that you're doing right, something right. And it's different when you have someone watching you and telling you what you're doing right and maybe what you need to
Absolutely.
still work on. Yeah. So they're all from Moldova. And
Nice.
that's my start. And I feel like it's gonna, I will try my best to spread it out and let's say to inform the people in Moldova and in Romania about this resource because what I'm trying to build actually is a platform that is not just going to give them information and credentials, but also throughout the time and every month we of course we're planning that we're going to add resources, we're going to add articles, we're going to add webinars, seminars, and we're going to post like tools such as those visuals translated in Romania so they can actually have everything they need for an ABA session. I'm also open to any suggestions. I'm open to communication, to feedbacks and everything. So I feel like it's going to be a project that can still grow and develop as the community will demand and require whatever they need for. We're gonna definitely be open to adding and offering. Yeah, so that I was thinking about what else we're gonna have in that autism advanced. So autism familia. It's that raw. It's gonna also include articles, and we gonna post also the YouTube video because YouTube is another social media that I have a YouTube channel and we name already the YouTube channel. We changed the name and now it's Autism Familia as well. So
Wow, okay.
we can use those that platform also for educational purposes. And those videos will be also on our website, linking people to the information. And
So
I
this is
think
the channel that was previously Autism Connect?
yes. So it was Autism Connect, and then I learned that actually Romania has a company, Autism Connect.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be associated with that. So I had to change the name, and
Hmm.
because we create the platform Autism
Mm-hmm.
Familia, then we decided already to change the name of the YouTube channel, and everything that's going to come from us is going to be under this name, Autism Familia. So yeah, that's the platform that YouTube channel that speaks about autism, and I on that channel I'm addressing practically topics that parents specialists they came to me and they were asking me about it. That's what I made videos, and I give them answer to their questions. So it's a good sources of information, and I'm planning on continuing it, and probably it's gonna go through some changes. We're gonna make sure that we are adding more information, because right now I was busy with the website and everything else and course. So now I'm gonna have more time, and definitely we're gonna post more videos and more information on all the platforms that we can, on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and so on.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't believe that you went back to Romania just last year and sort of the state of everything, the stigma, the lack of awareness, people doing ABA that wasn't ABA. And in just a year's time, you've set up a website, you've got folks training, you've got folks getting mentorship, you've got folks going for certification. That's a huge accomplishment in 1 year. What are some of the, and probably more than anyone's really done anywhere, what are some of your kind of longer term goals? Are you hoping that eventually you'll start training IBAs as well?
Yes, I do, because that's where I'm coming at. I thought that, yes, I try to help my country as much as I can,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm only one person. So
Yeah.
I would definitely need, there's two ways I can go for now. Maybe if we'll see how it goes and how many people want to register and get credentialing, simply just take the course and learn about it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so if we see the high demand and I cannot handle them, I will now bring some of the specialists that speak Romanian are so they can also help me. But another, yeah, the long-term goal is to eventually get my hands on creating that IBA course that will give them opportunity to get their IBA license. So this way they have mentors on their own, like from the country. And as I said, like I'm trying to collaborate and communicate with as many people as I can. I communicate with parents, I communicate with therapists from that countries. I also try to reach up a little bit at legislation level, let's say that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit tough.
Hmm.
It's very hard, because even when I got, let's say, excited because I did connect with the person that could help change things at a higher level, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, we're going to do a breakthrough. Moldova is going to get those high standards that IBAO requires, and we're going to
Mm-hmm.
provide quality services. So, but no, things are not so easy. And I don't know. Sometimes I'm staying, I'm asking myself, what do I need to do? And with who exactly do I need to connect?
Mm-hmm.
Because I got a little bit of hope, and then that hope was gone, because
Mm-hmm.
things didn't go the way we thought it will go. So, but I'll keep trying.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we can get something even at legislature, because Moldova, it's a country that is not the richest country, let's say that way.
Mm-hmm.
So people over there, they don't have the salaries that a US person will have. And for them to get ABE services for anybody, they need to pay out of their pocket. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
in the US, parents can get help through health insurances. There's nothing that can give them that financial help. What I was, and I hope that something's going to change at that level of legislation, that maybe they can get also on their health insurance something, a little bit of help for those parents. Maybe there's a way, because right now that's something amazing and kind of, I feel like maybe something to think of. I hope somebody from Moldova watches the podcast, and I hope, or from Romania, and I hope things will change maybe. The thing is that I had parents that came for consultation, let's say that way, when I was in a country with their kid. And I assessed the child, and we couldn't see clearly it's autism. So then I was telling mom next steps, like maybe she can go to a neurologist, they can use the DSM-5, they can use a DOS, they can get their child officially assessed and the diagnosis. To which the parent actually said, why do I need to officially diagnose my child? There's no benefit on officially diagnosing my kid. I'm just gonna put a stigma, or let's say like a sticker on my child that he's on a spectrum, but that's not gonna give me anything. So it doesn't worth it for me to go and pay lots of money to get my child diagnosed, because at the end of the day, that doesn't help me in any way. So I hope if Moldova can understand, or whoever is leading in our country can understand, that it's important to give these parents help and motivate them to get an official diagnosis for their child, because even the mildest child on a spectrum would benefit extremely, let's say highly, when he goes to school, because if he has that diagnosis, the teacher will know. They can adjust. They can maybe adjust the requirements. They can do those tools that we all know about in school setting, and meet the kids' needs when he goes into school, and he can pass through the whole program of schooling. If you don't have that diagnosis and the teacher is not aware, they will integrate in mainstream, and without the right adjustments, the child will fail to meet the requirements. And at the end of the day, it's gonna be stressful for the parents, stressful for the teacher, and it's not gonna have a good ending. So it's a lot of benefits on getting a diagnosis, I feel like. But right now, Republic of Moldova doesn't see it that way. It's because the system doesn't motivate them to diagnose their kids. So I am not surprised, and to be honest, I don't even know the statistic of how many kids are with autism, because many parents refuse to officially get that diagnosis.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, the rate's probably the same as it is anywhere else, but folks actually getting diagnosed would probably be quite a bit lower, because there's no value in getting a diagnosis. Yeah.
And I hope things will change. And as I said, like, I'm trying to reach out to somebody that can maybe put their brains together, and they can create something amazing that can benefit the artist community on a long run, and on all the aspects, like therapy, education, everything else.
Yeah. I mean, in a lot of countries, it does seem like, even in the US, it was the parents that really made the change, brought the legislation, those sorts of things. It was never the professionals. And so, yeah, it's getting more of that awareness and acceptance by parents, and understanding that ABA services are what's going to make the difference for them, and we need to see that recognized and supported.
Yes, and even if I think that there were some, I did see some parents with kids on the spectrum that they got to social media, and they got to TV, and they were speaking about autism, but there's a downside on that too. That because of the cultural thinking, let's say, the fact that they're kind of in a box and they have to present this ideal image and everything, the people who are talking usually, and they present and they show their kids, are those that are mild, and the silent one are those that are more severe, because they're like, oh, how can I take my child to a TV and show that he's hitting himself and I'm restraining him because there's no other way? So that's also there is that the people who needs to be more vocal and stand out and scream and be like, yes, it's not just my child who speaks English here and plays piano with autism. There's another side of autism. And that side of autism, I feel like the same like in US, they prefer to keep it hidden, and they present only that mild level,
Right.
and they do not present the other side of autism. And I feel like this is something that I really hope and I want, that those parents that have those kiddos to actually not be shy and not be intimidated by that, but go out and say, yes, my kids are autism and is not speaking English and is not talking maybe at all, and maybe doesn't even have a bed in his room, but you need to know that they are, and we need to help them. So I feel like those are the parents that are embarrassed and they don't show the reality. And even if the people now getting the community or the population get some information from those parents, they get also their limited information. Let's say that way, because I don't want to say it wrong, because they still get a child with autism, but is on a high spectrum, but the high level of the spectrum, and they do not talk about the other side of the spectrum. So that's another thing that is going to still keep locked those kiddos out of the social, because the society, it doesn't get the whole picture. And how can you accept a child that is on a severe side of the spectrum if nobody talks about it? In order to be able to get out of your house and walk with that child on the road, you need to go and talk to the community about it. You need to inform the people about that. And that's another thing that I noticed, is that they present only the beautiful side
Of course.
of the autism and not all things.
Yeah, I mean, stigma is the biggest barrier, I think, and the most common story I hear when I interview folks like yourself who are just starting behavior analysis in their country, and they're trying to get things going, and it's that cultural, going back generations, fear of judgment by others. And I had Dr. Marja Kolic on a while back, and she's a behavior analyst, Serbian behavior analyst at the University of Hawaii, who's been studying stigma in autism, in particular in some of the Eastern European countries. Yeah, she's really been a big advocate for pushing towards preventions to reduce stigma, because we're never going to get services, we're never going to get the support folks need until folks are feeling brave enough to come out of their homes.
Yes. Yeah, that's very sad. And um, probably it's easy for me to talk. And it's for me, it's hard kind of to comprehend why they're not talking. It's
Sure.
because, of course, doesn't matter what, 15 years in the US changed the way I'm accepting, changed the way I'm looking at things. And probably I could do that, because I have already the mentality that is in US. Like, I don't care what other people think. I care how I feel comfortable, what makes me happy, what makes my child happy, and what
Right.
is in the benefit of my child.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's not other people that are living with the kid with that kid in the house. It's not other people that are not sleeping nights and that have 15 years old on the pull-ups. It's not them. It's me, the parents. Um, I wouldn't care, let's say that way, and I would probably knock every door and get the loudest microphone and speak to the whole world about what I'm going through. But I feel like for many people that are raised there, they didn't go out of the country. They're living their life every single day there. They cannot think the way I think. And for them, is hard to do those things. So as I said, like, just stay quiet and push through the pain.
Well, I think you're going to get there. It's only been a year. It's incredible the amount of accomplishment and sort of the outcomes you've made already in 1 year. I can only imagine what things are going to be like in Moldova in 10 years. Maybe we could finish things off by just sharing again where folks can go to start learning more about autism and ABA in Moldova. What are the websites, those sorts of things. And maybe you could share that, because we're probably going to have listeners in Moldova and in Romania. Maybe you could share that all in English, but then share it all again in Romanian. So for the folks that are listening.
Definitely look into that. So the website that is going to provide all the information that is scientific based, it's autismfamilia.ro, and that's the main platform where is the course. Course is available, it's active, people can go in, they can take it, and of course, depends on the person. If you are a parent and you just want the information, you can just take the course. If you are someone that wants not just information, that you are serving or planning on serving kids on the spectrum or interacting, you are already interacting with kids on the spectrum, then that is the course also where you can find it at Autismfamilia. But also I would check in the website continuously, because that's where all the webinars gonna be held. That's where all the tools, all the articles, the information is gonna be posted. And the YouTube channel that I am also leading and provides information when it comes to autism is called also Autism Familia. And now for the people who are listening in Romanian or Moldova. Deci, acum, la momentul dat, am activat platforma autismfamilia.ro, care este o platformă online, website. Pe acest website se află cursul de 40 de ore IBT, care vă oferă informația de bază pe care trebuie să o dețineți în legătură cu ABA pentru a oferi acele servicii. Cursul este activ și poate fi procurat de orice doritor, atât părinte, terapist, cât și educatori. Vă va ajuta să înțelegeți mai bine acele strategii științifice care sunt utilizate cu copiii cu autism. De asemenea, vă oferă o cale spre credențiarea dumneavoastră cu obținerea acelui certificat de IBT. Veți lua cursul, puteți să vă logați pe website-ul IBAO și să citiți toată informația care vă va instrui cum să obțineți credențialele de IBT. Deci vă rog să urmăriți această platformă, deoarece pe ea vor fi anunțate și postate toate webinarele, informația în legătură cu Behaviour analysis, analiza comportamentală, totul va fi postat pe această platformă. De asemenea, în cadrul acestei platforme, cu timpul, și desigur avem și canalul de YouTube, Autism Familia, care de asemenea vă oferă informație la subiectul autismului. Now I finished. I almost forgot about the YouTube channel that we have.
Amazing. Olga, it's been a pleasure to be sort of here at a point of history for Moldova as things start to change for the good for families and autistic folks alike. Thanks for coming on the podcast and sharing the story and sharing all the work you're doing.
Thank you so much, Ben, for having me. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about my country. I got so
The third secret word is education. I'm grateful to be able to share the great work Olga Serbo is doing in Moldova as we take this journey together through the Central and Southern European nations. Check out the show notes of this episode for links to conversations with behavior analysts from Croatia, Montenegro, Kyrgyzstan, Slovenia, Ukraine, Belarus, Serbia, and watch for upcoming interviews from behavior analysts in Bulgaria, Georgia, Romania, and so many more. Thanks so much. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok and subscribe to our YouTube page at Behavior Speak. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.